Hello everyone. Today we have a very special guest with us, Mr. Jorge Dyszel, one of the world's most respected metal consultant, educator, and expert in risk management.
Hi, Prarana. Good morning. I'm so glad to start this new program here with you and for you to learn a little bit about the base metals market. Thank you for the introduction.
Hey, hi Jorge. So, what are you having for breakfast today?
Well, it's very early here. I'm traveling. It's 5:30 in the morning, so I'm just having for this breakfast my cup of coffee.
So, now tell us about the base metal prices during the last few days.
Well, this week has been a very interesting one. We have seen the base metal prices to be consolidating, particularly aluminum and copper. Let me speak about both of them, mainly aluminum copper. We have seen this week a peak on aluminum price which went up to 2,910. I mean the 3 months price. While the copper has this week a high of 11,000. Um, well, the closing as of yesterday, Thursday, it wasn't exactly on the highs, but we really are watching a very strong demand, not only by the consumers, but also by the funds who are using this metal to save. There is a strong bet in the market that both copper and aluminum will stay strong because of the use of them with artificial intelligence. And you have seen some of my posts on my newsletters when I explain that we are facing a new revolution, mainly triggered by the artificial intelligence. I strongly believe in that. And as far as other metals, the nickel is a little bit weaker, like 2%, like $200. The other one is the lead, which is stronger, 2% higher. And as I said, it has been a very interesting week of prices consolidation. Furthermore, we have seen the euro stronger against the dollar, which always represents a sort of driver to expect higher prices.
And any news on the tariffs? Like, what finally happened in this topic?
Well, as far as the tariffs, you know my position. Originally, every single country was crying after Trump's announcement about the tariffs because at the beginning there was this original belief that the exporters into the USA would need to lower the prices. If they would have done that, the impact of the tariffs would have been on every single exporter head. And that was not the case because the exports prices didn't go down, and mainly the American consumer ended paying the higher tariffs. Particularly, you see that on the aluminum, which premium, after being imported into the USA, is paid by the importer, and after that, of course, by the consumer. So, all in all, after such a very, very significant move, we have seen a period of negotiations when some countries have received benefits in terms of lowering the tariffs, some not. Chinese tariffs went up, then down. But anyway, regardless the amount of money, this has brought to an important political negotiation. 1 second. The important move, as you know, I am from Argentina, from Maradona and Messi's country. And we had an important announcement of an agreement between the US and Argentina, whereby both countries are going to mostly eliminate the tariffs or reduce them dramatically. And as far as aluminum is concerned, in the past, the aluminum exports from Argentina into the US had preferential treatment, which was eliminated after the aluminum was taxed in 50%, and now apparently the tariffs for aluminum exports into the USA will return to zero. This is part of a new policy towards Argentina, which is the response of a government which is strongly supporting the USA, trying to rebuild the concept that America is for Argentina of a good help. Argentina had received a very, very strong financial support with a swap and with a direct intervention by the Treasury of the US into the foreign exchange market in Argentina, mainly selling dollars, buying pesos. And also there were very important announcements in Argentina about investments in AI also. And there is a very strong alignment which is making Argentina a strategic partner to the USA. And of course, the location in the south means to the USA a very important step into the access to Latin America.
And what about the spreads? I mean, the comparison between cash and future prices?
On the spreads, well, except for zinc, which is in a very, very strong backwardation. Remember, backwardation means that the nearby price is higher than the futures price, okay? And this is because a restraint on the offer. So the zinc, which value is around 3,180, the cash price is $100 higher, meaning backwardation. The other metals are in a contango. But let me remind you something. For example, the copper is now cash to threes. The cash price is $17 lower than the 3 months price. This is an extremely small contango. We had this year moments when the contango cash to threes was $150, which means the cash price was $150 lower. Now it's just $17 lower. But we had, like 4 months ago, a backwardation, which meant that the cash price was higher than the 3 months price, a backwardation of $200 or even more. Those situations, the contango on the aluminum is $25. That contango is more in line to the contangos we have seen in the past. What does it mean, a contango? That the price is higher. But theoretically speaking, a 3 months contango, a 3 months price, should compensate the cost of the storage, the cost of the money, the cost of the insurance, compared to the cash price, and this is not the case. The contango of the alley is $25, while the price is round figure 2,900, and it doesn't cover anything, $25. But usually that spread was around $30-40, and perhaps on a lower basis against an aluminum which was cash 2,400. But anyway, the opportunities that a contango brings is for anyone who has to go short in the futures market. The price will be higher if you hedge. Let's say we are now in November. If you hedge for February, the price will be $25 higher. So you make money on a contango situation when you have to sell. In the case of zinc, which is in backwardation, for example, it's a nice opportunity for the consumers to hedge at a lower price. In the case the hedger, the consumer, needs to protect the prices for February. And mainly this is how it works. Why a market moves from a contango to backwardation is mainly related to the supply and demand. And the reasons can be really a lot, and we are going to have at the moment of time some space to explain them. We went through them in my previous program, which was Hedging with Jorge, and mainly that's it. The demand and the supply have shown lately a very steady and continuous structure, which meant on the last 2 months prices to be stable in the long run, but in the short run going higher, higher, and higher.
And finally, what are your views on the prices?
Well, I understand there is always the last question because time is limited, time is money. Well, what's my views on the market? I am still very optimistic. Of course, I don't have the crystal ball, but I've been following the markets for already 42 years, 42 years. And I see that in addition to the speculators that operate most of the volume, there is a very important strategic demand on top of the demand from the consumers, which means that probably stocks of copper and aluminum are being built as a strategic reserve. So having said so, and we hear more and more every day about the power of the artificial intelligence. I've mentioned that, and I'm bullish. If I need to focus, I would say to guess, I expect the market or the copper market to reach to 12,000 or more, and the aluminum 3,000 or more. It's amazing. If I go back 20 years ago, just to give you an idea, the aluminum was $1,300, and the copper was $2,600, double. But now it's 4 times higher, which explains in the long run, you can see how the world has driven into a higher copper consumption. We have the electrical vehicles, sorry. I drive one, a Tesla. I'm so happy about driving a Tesla. But to be clear, the Tesla drives for me. And hoping I have helped you with these views. See you in 2 weeks' time in this program, having breakfast with Jorge, which is me. Thank you.
Well, likewise, the first episode of Breakfast with Jorge comes to an end. We hope you enjoy it and do not forget to leave your views and subscribe. Thank you.